Hey everybody, Don here again. Well, I'm back in the paint shop. And today I'm going to finish up those two crankbaits I started. So I'm a little nervous because I'm going to try putting some stencil work on them. Like everything else, I've never done it before. So we're going to give it a shot and then we'll get these things clear coated and finished up. Okay, so what I've got is this Mylar Crawdad stencil that I bought. I bought this sheet. It has 4 different patterns on it, all crawdad. I like this one, so this is the one I'm going to use. I've taped it onto the back, and then I'll just put my thumb over it. And we'll give this a light coat of pearlized black, which I need to mix up because I want to thin it down some. This is the Createx pearlized black. We'll see how thick they are compared to those wicked colors. Those wicked colors were wicked thick. This is pretty thick too, but not quite so bad. I don't need that much. And I'm going to put a drop or 2 of reducer. And we'll mix that up. All right, so I've got the pressure cranked up and the thing's flowing. What I'm going to do is up and down, front to back. So I've got this thing notched so that it fits. Here goes nothing. All right, see what that looks like. Not too bad. I'm going to dry off the paint side here. And we're going to flip it over and do the other side. All right, so now I'm going to put that in that notch like that. And then just try to tape this around the back side. Try to get those lined up. And then let's that should do it. There we have it. All right, so number 2, mixed up a little bit more paint. I'm going to go a little bit heavier on this one. And I'm starting from the back and going to the front. I should probably be doing it the opposite way, but that one's a little bit better. Trying to get those to kind of line up. It's not too bad. I missed the one at the end. Let's heat set that, and then I'll get that one at the end. about there. Yeah, that one came out a little bit better. They don't quite match up perfectly, but I think once we get the clear coat on them, it's going to look pretty good. So I'm going to put some eyeballs on these. I wish I had just plain black eyeballs, but I don't think I do. And then we're going to get these clear coated. Tiniest drop of super glue. Again, I think that's a little too much. All right, we'll let that side dry, and then we'll flip them over and do the other side. All right, time to take off the tape. And then I'm going to clear coat these babies. And I'll clear coat the bill as well. That's 2. Hopefully that's going to be enough. Take that up to 4. All right. And now we're supposed to mix this for about 5 minutes. Painting. I'm going to do the whole bill. I kind of like, I see some people like Jen Cravasi, who's a professional. She uses that KBS, I think it's called. It's a dip epoxy. I don't know, that might be a better route to go. But this is what I got started with, and we're going to use it up. You can see some very tiny, tiny bubbles. Hopefully they will disperse. I'll make sure I get a good even coat of this on here. All right, I think that's got a pretty good coating on it. Oh, there's a little spot I missed. And I am glad that I scuffed up that bill. Let's get this puppy going. All right. All right. Well, we'll give those until tomorrow to for that clear coat to dry on the rotisserie. And right now I'm going to go try to get the super glue off of my fingers. We'll see you in a little bit. Well, it's the next day, and I can tell you right now, Houston, we have a problem. Let me tell you what's happening. So I came down here after dinner last night to check on the baits and see how they were doing, and the rotisserie had stopped. And what had happened was when I built this thing, I drilled a hole into this piece of wood, and then I ran this lag bolt in there so that it could ride in this channel and spin. Well, there must have been just enough friction. It was a fairly loose fit on that lag bolt. And there must have been just enough friction for that to screw out a little bit, and this whole thing moved away and it disengaged from the receptacle on the motor. Well, no problem. I pulled that off. I put some super glue on the threads and I put it back in. 5 minutes later, it's all good. But what I noticed, which was the problem, is that this bait here had a large drop of epoxy coming off the end of the lip. Now, this had been curing for over 4 hours, and surely, even though this is a 12-hour cure time, it would have been set up enough so it wasn't running. But that's not the case. Once it quit rotating, the epoxy just started to run. Well, so the nice thing about filming everything that you're doing is that I was able to go back into the video and see what had happened. So I went into the office, I started editing the video, and when I got to the part where I was mixing the epoxy, I was looking at that and I was saying, man, that is not at all what I thought I did. You know, this epoxy is 1-to-1 hardener to resin. Nate says in his video that if you're going to be off at all, you can get by with it being 1.1-to-1 heavy on the hardener. Well, I was using a little graduated cup. He measures everything out on a digital scale. And from the angle that I was sitting, I thought I was close, but I kept adding the resin to it. And in the end, I ended up with way too much resin and not enough hardener. I kind of confirmed that talking to my buddy, the Gnome, and he said, yeah, and that particular epoxy, if you are not right on and very precise in your measurements, you're not going to get the bait to harden, the epoxy to harden. And he told me that he actually has a bait from when he first got started that 3 years later is still sticky and tacky. And I think that's exactly what we've got here. So here's the bait. I mean, it looks pretty good, but I mean, you can see that's still, I mean, I'm pulling the epoxy right off of the bill and now it's stuck to my fingers. So we are over 16 hours into this cure cycle. These things should have been rock hard, and I can see it's even running down the hemostats. The other one is just as bad. Although the bill came out looking quite nice, so I'm glad that I sanded down those bills. But yeah, here's the baits. The paint job came out all right, but major fail with the epoxy. I'm kind of bummed about that because I did want to give one of these away to a subscriber. So what can I take away from this failure? Well, there's a lot to learn, right? I mean, I look at every failure as a learning experience, or at least an opportunity to learn something. And what did I learn? Details matter. I was looking at this, graduations, and that's how I measured this. I should have taken Nate's advice and bought a little scale and weighed this stuff out rather than just counting on my eyesight, which is not so good, and the angle that I was sitting at to put the epoxy in that cup. But I gotta say, a lot of positive things from this as well. I did learn that I can actually paint with an airbrush, and do okay. Now, this is not exactly the color of the bait that I intended, but I could give this away to somebody without being the least bit embarrassed by it. And so we're going to press on, and we're going to start doing the next bait. I have bought a scale that should probably be here on Monday, and we'll go forward. The next time we'll be a lot more precise in our measurements. So all in all, hey, this is a learning curve, and I'm learning as I go. So we can only get better, right? Thanks for coming along. Peace.